The Light Outside the Window, The Story of Samantha Rice. Part 1. The Letter in the Bottle. Samantha Rice, a 17-year-old girl from a small coastal town in Maine, always felt her life was destined for something greater. She grew up in a house right by the ocean, waking every morning to the sound of waves and the salty breeze. Her father, a retired sailor, often told her stories of a lost ship, Northern Star, which vanished in 1884 along with its mysterious cargo. One chilly October evening, while walking along the beach, Samantha spotted a strange bottle washed ashore. Inside was a letter, written in antique ink on aged parchment. If you're reading this, you are the chosen one. The truth lies beneath the lighthouse. Tell no one. Her heart raced. This wasn't a prank. The letter carried the scent of old secrets. The lighthouse, long abandoned, stood only a mile from her home. Part 2. The Lighthouse Secret. That night, Samantha made her decision. Armed with a flashlight and her father's old map, she approached the lighthouse. Creaky doors, broken stairs, and the smell of mildew surrounded her. Inside, beneath a loose floorboard, she discovered a hidden hatch. She descended into a stone tunnel, which led to a secret chamber. There, she found an ancient book with a golden crest, the Book of Light. Inside were spells, legends, and a surname, Rice. Part 3. The Blood Legacy. It turned out Samantha's family descended from the ancient order of Lightkeepers. Their mission, to protect a sacred power hidden beneath the lighthouse from the shadow, a dark order seeking to claim it. From that moment, her life changed forever. Her father disappeared. Strange things began happening at school, and her dreams were haunted by a whispering voice calling her the guide. Part 4. The Storm Battle. During a fierce coastal storm, Samantha felt the power awakening. The shadow had found her home. Using the lunar amulet she had discovered in the book, she created a protective field of light that repelled them. In doing so, she learned the truth. Her father wasn't dead. He had crossed into another realm to fight the shadow. Part 5. The Voice in the Fog. A voice began calling Samantha at night. Soft but commanding, "Seer, the time has come." She couldn't tell anyone, not even her best friend Taylor, who was growing concerned. Searching the book, she found an entry about calls of the gatekeeper. A sign. The veil between worlds was thinning. Part 6. Tracks in the Sand. One morning, Samantha found bizarre tracks on the beach. Not human. They radiated heat and had long, clawed shapes. Someone had come through the veil. A scout of a shadow. That night, she placed silver runes around the lighthouse, reinforced with sacred ash. Darkness was approaching. Part 7. The Moonstone Prophecy. A strange glow caught her eye, a moon-colored stone embedded in the cliff. When she touched it, visions overcame her, a woman in a hooded robe, her great-grandmother, who spoke. "You are the last, Samantha. If your light fades, humanity will be blind." She awoke, holding the glowing stone in her palm. Part 8. Taylor disappears. Taylor vanished. Only a note remained. "They found me. Guard the light. I'll hold them off." Samantha's hands trembled. It was a trap. She had to save her. Using the portal beneath the lighthouse, she stepped into the hidden underground sanctuary. Part 9. The Hidden Temple. Dust, ancient carvings, and glowing runes lined the walls. In the center stood an altar, and upon it, a glowing crystal. Touching it gave Samantha a vision. Taylor imprisoned in a tower on the island of frozen waves. In her chest pulsed a shadow. Time was running out. Part 10. Preparing for battle. Samantha returned and assembled a team of allies. Marcos, a wind mage and druidic heir. Ellie, a battle alchemist with ancient blood. Oliver, a master of sigils and protective circles. Together, they forged the Mirror of Revelation, a portal to the tower. Part 11. The Tower of Frozen Waves. The island was brutal. Icy winds screamed across jagged cliffs. Hound-like shadows guarded the entrance. Ellie cast thunder dust, scattering them. Samantha charged forward as Marcos held off more beasts behind her. Part 12. Rescuing Taylor. She found Taylor in a trance, shackled to stone. A dark gem pulsed in her chest. Placing the moonstone against it, the shadow hissed and vanished into the ceiling. Taylor collapsed into her arms. But Salas, the shadow's leader, now knew Samantha's name. Part 13. The Face of Salas. Salas was not human. His skin was ash black, his eyes bottomless pits. One night, he appeared in her dream and spoke. You've grown strong, Samantha, but light is not a weapon. It's a burden. Can you carry it to the end? Part 14. The City Trembles. Back home, the town began to crumble. Power outages, sick children, nightmares. The shadow had invaded the energy grid, feeding off fear. Samantha and her friends planted crystals in hospitals and schools. Slowly, hope returned. Part 15. Her Father's Secret. One day, in her father's old suitcase, Samantha found a photo. Her dad standing beside Salas. The caption, "Goodbye, brother. I choose the light." Her blood ran cold. Salas was her uncle. Her family had once belonged to the shadow. Part 16. The Gates of Fate. Oliver discovered an ancient map, showing the gates of final light deep underwater, in the sunken city of Ellerin. If sealed, the shadow's path would close forever. They prepared and descended in a rusty submarine. Part 17. The Depths of Ellerin. The city was majestic, even in ruin. Golden domes shimmered through the water. But the gates were guarded by the mirror dragon. It spoke. Only one who has suffered may seal the gates. Are you ready to leave behind all you love? Part 18. The Heart's Test. Visions flooded her. Her mother, Taylor, her childhood. The dragon said she must release all memories to purify the light. With tears in her eyes, Samantha whispered, "I don't forget. I let go." To protect. The gates began to close. Part 19. The Final Assault. Salas arrived too late. Furious, he struck Samantha with a spear of shadow. She collapsed, but her friends rose. Together, they formed a circle of radiant light. Salas disintegrated in a flash of brilliance. His darkness ended forever. Part 20. A New Era. A year passed. The lighthouse was restored as a school and museum. Children came to hear tales of a lightkeeper. Samantha was no longer just a girl from the coast. She was a symbol, proof that even in the darkest night, light can prevail if someone dares to carry it. Part 21. The Memory That Returned. Even after Salas's defeat, Samantha's peace was short-lived. During a quiet walk near the cliffs, she heard a whisper, a familiar voice from her past. Her father's. Turning, she saw no one, but in her hand appeared a glowing pendant, one she had buried years ago with him. The pendant pulsed and revealed a hidden memory. Her father didn't die. He willingly crossed into the realm of fragments to seal a breach left open centuries ago. And now, that realm was breaking apart. Part 22. The Broken Veil. Strange creatures began appearing in nearby towns, half-formed beasts of light and shadow. They attacked not with teeth, but with confusion, warping minds, spreading fear. Samantha realized the veil between dimensions was tearing. With her allies, she summoned the Book of Light. A single page began to rewrite itself, showing an ancient symbol, the hourglass sigil, a device used by the original founders to heal dimensional tears, now lost in the Valley of Echoes. Part 23. Into the Valley of Echoes. The team journeyed to the valley, a wasteland where time bent unpredictably. They met a lone guardian, Arian, a girl who aged backwards due to the valley's curse. She agreed to help them find the sigil, but warned, to take it, one of you must stay behind. Deep in the valley's core, they found the hourglass, guarded by shifting illusions of their worst fears. Samantha faced her younger self, crying alone in the storm, accusing her of abandoning her normal life. She overcame it with a vow. My strength is not in leaving fear behind, but walking through it. They retrieved the sigil. Arian stayed behind, smiling as her age reversed into light. Part 24. The Fractured Council. Returning home, Samantha sought help from the remaining Lightkeeper Council. But something was wrong. Many council members had vanished. Those who remained were bitter, disillusioned. Some had secretly allied with the surviving remnants of the shadow. A vote was held, and Samantha was accused of being the cause of the breaches. Only a narrow escape with the help of Ellie saved her. Part 25. The Mark of the Third Flame. Samantha went into hiding. Under the ruins of an old cathedral, she discovered the flame trials, a forgotten test left by the ancient Lightkeeper Queen. The third flame marked the bearer with a unique scar, a symbol of irreversible connection to both light and darkness. Samantha passed the trial, emerging with the mark burning on her wrist, a sign she could walk in both realms. Part 26. Oath of the Wounded. While traveling through a ruined village corrupted by remnants of shadow magic, Samantha found a young boy named Theo, mute and scarred. He showed her drawings of the creatures he had seen, and one of them looked eerily like her. Realizing she was being mirrored by a dark version of herself, Samantha vowed to protect Theo and other survivors. She formed a group called the Wounded Light, those who had been touched by darkness but chose light anyway. Part 27. The Mirror of Samantha. Theo's drawings led Samantha to a temple hidden in the mountains, where her mirror self waited. Cloaked in cold silver light, it spoke. You are not whole without me. I am a truth you fear. Unite with me, or perish from within. A battle followed, not with weapons but with memories. Samantha merged with her darker side, not to destroy it, but to understand it. The mirror shattered, and she emerged changed, calmer, wiser, stronger. Part 28. Letters from the Other Side. At the lighthouse, Samantha received a stack of letters, written by her father from the realm of fragments. He explained that time moved differently there. He had watched her grow from afar and warned that the first light, the origin of all light keepers, had awakened and was not what they believed it to be. Part 29. The First Light Awakens. Part 41. The Keeper's Seed. Evening. A voice thundered across the realm, claiming to be the first light, angry that its power had been abused by fragile mortals. The entity demanded submission from all light keepers or it would reclaim its essence. Storms, tremors, and mass hallucinations followed. Part 30. The Hidden Sanctuary. Samantha and her team fled to the Sanctuary of Threads, a mythical place where the past, present, and future interwove. There, ancient tapestries revealed the truth. The first light was once human. It had been corrupted by adoration and fear, evolving into a sentient force of judgment. Part 31. A New Prophecy. In the sanctuary, a final prophecy was uncovered. Only the child born under mirrored stars can rekindle the light without destruction. Samantha didn't understand until she realized. She was born during a rare celestial mirror alignment. She was the one. But to succeed, she would need to enter the realm of fragments herself. Part 32. The Realm of Fragments. Crossing over was like falling into a dream that never ended. Time stretched, landscapes shifted. She saw past versions of herself, scared, joyful, lost, all helping guide her toward a glowing temple where her father waited. He was fading. Part 33. Reunion and Goodbye. Their reunion was brief, but deep. Her father passed her the last shard of the true flame, the only thing powerful enough to neutralize the first light. But using it would come at a cost. It would extinguish her own light forever. The world needs your courage, he whispered, even if it never remembers your name. He vanished into the mists. Part 34. The Return to Earth. Emerging from the realm, changed and glowing faintly, Samantha rallied the last of the light keepers and the wounded. They prepared for the final confrontation. She did not tell them the cost, only that they had one chance. Part 35. The Final Eclipse. As the eclipse darkened the sky, the first light appeared above the lighthouse. Massive, blinding, divine. It tried to smother them with despair. Samantha stood in its path and unleashed the true flame shard. It screamed. Light collided with light. Part 36. The Sacrifice. As the flame grew, Samantha whispered goodbye to each friend through thought. Taylor cried, sensing the farewell. The shard consumed her, and in its place remained only a soft, warm light, which spread across the world. The first light was gone, its power restored to the people. Part 37. A World Reborn. Nature healed. Fear lifted. The shadow no longer whispered in dreams. The lighthouse became a place of healing, of song, of learning. Children played where battles were once fought, and Samantha's name became a quiet legend. Part 38. Taylor's Journal. Years later, Taylor, now a teacher at the lighthouse, wrote a book, The Girl Who Chose Light. In it, she told the true story, not of a goddess, but of a girl with trembling hands and an unbreakable heart. Part 39. The Star Above the Sea. Each year on the same day, a star appeared over the ocean, brighter than any other. People said it was Samantha, watching, guiding. A new generation of light keepers lit their lanterns, not in worship, but in remembrance. Part 40. The Window That Glowed. A little girl stood by her window one night, afraid of storm. Her mother pointed to the lighthouse in the distance, its beam cutting through the dark. That light, she said, came from someone who once stood where you are, scared but brave. And the girl smiled, because she knew, even in the darkest night, the light never truly leaves. Part 41. The Keeper's Seed. Decades had passed. The world had changed. Cleaner skies, stronger communities, people guided not by fear, but by memory. In a quiet garden near the lighthouse, a sapling grew where Samantha had last stood. It glowed faintly in moonlight. A small plaque beneath it read, "Here stood the girl who chose light." The sapling wasn't ordinary. Its leaves shimmered when touched by truth. And one day, a young orphan named Mira brushed its stem and saw something no one had seen in years, a flicker of Samantha's flame. Part 42. Mira of the Garden. Mira, just 13, was raised in a lighthouse school. She had no memory of her parents, only dreams of wind, sea, and a woman's voice urging her to wake the light. The others thought she was just imaginative. But when the tree called to her, the headmistress, now elderly Taylor, grew silent. She guided Mira into a secret room beneath the lighthouse, one locked since Samantha's time. There, Mira found a journal. Not Samantha's, but her father's. Its last line read, "The light will return not in war, but in wonder. She will be small, but she will shine." Taylor whispered, "It's you, child." Part 43. Echoes in the Stone. Earthquakes had returned, not destructive, but rhythmic, pulsing beneath the soil like a heartbeat. Mira followed the tremors to the cliffs. There, deep within a cave sealed by old sigils, she discovered glowing stone fragments, shards of the ancient mirror of Samantha. When she touched them, Mira saw glimpses of the past, but also the future. She saw herself, not fighting darkness, but creating new light. Part 44. The Sleeping Flame. That night, Myra's dreams took her beyond stars. A sleeping fire burned in a temple made of clouds. A woman stood at the altar, not Samantha, but someone older, quieter, watching. "You don't need to become me," the woman said. "You need to become you." When Mira awoke, her hands glowed with silver light. Not blinding, not burning, soft, warm. Part 45. The Gathering Winds. From across the sea, strange winds brought whispers of unrest. In the southern mountains, old remnants of the shadow stirred, not as enemies, but as confused, frightened beings seeking purpose. Mira, still just a girl, was chosen to go, not to fight but to speak, to bring light where swords would fail. Taylor tried to stop her. She was 17 when she began. "You're only 13. But Mira smiled. She waited for the world. "I will go because it's already calling." Part 46. The Southern Path. Mira, dressed in a simple cloak, carried only her pendant and a folded letter from Taylor. She journeyed south, past villages where the people whispered about the return of the lighthouse girl. They didn't know her name, only the light in her eyes. On the third night, a storm forced her to take shelter in a shepherd's barn. There, an old woman gave her a wooden ring and said, "This belonged to a girl who once calmed the river spirits. Maybe it will work for you too. Mira nodded, not fully understanding, but her hand closed tight around the ring. Part 47, Whispers of Shadowkin. In the shadow of the Windspire Mountains, Mira encountered them, the Shadowkin. Thin, pale figures with eyes like empty glass. But they didn't attack. They wept. One fell to its knees and whispered, "It hurts to remember her." Mira reached out. Light shimmered from her palm, not to burn, but to soothe. As her fingers touched its shoulder, the creature convulsed, then dissolved into mist, smiling. She realized these weren't enemies. They were fragments of lost people, warped by old pain, longing to be set free. Part 48, Temple of Soft Flame. Guided by a vision, Mira found an ancient temple buried in ivy. Inside, murals depicted not war, but healing. Samantha not wielding fire, but embracing broken ones. In the center, a soft flame burned in an invisible bowl. When Mira stepped near, it leapt in her chest. Part 51, The Letter in the Candle. "You are now the flame bearer of peace," echoed a voice. "Where light once destroyed, yours shall restore." Part 49, The Broken Village. In the valley of Tharwin, she found a village torn apart by fear. Neighbors turned on each other, claiming curses and betrayal. Mira stood in the square and knelt. She placed the wooden ring into the soil and whispered, "Let memory return, not pain." A warm pulse spread across the ground. Villagers cried, then began embracing one another. For the first time in years, no one shouted. A song rose from the riverbank, the first in a generation. Part 50, The Trial of Names. But peace has its enemies. A council of old guardians summoned Mira and demanded she explain her actions. They feared her influence, feared what happened to Samantha might repeat. They asked, "What are you really?" She answered calmly, "A seed from her light, but I grow in my own direction." The council voted to banish her, but as she turned to leave, one elder knelt and whispered, "Thank you." My grandson smiled in his sleep again. Part 51, The Letter in the Candle. After her quiet banishment from the Guardian's lands, Mira lit a single candle in a forgotten chapel. To her shock, the flame bent toward a crack in the wall. She followed it and discovered a hidden compartment. Inside, an old, unopened letter addressed to the one after me. "Samantha," the letter read, "I've left something unfinished, something even the Lightkeepers never knew. If you've come this far, you deserve to see what I've buried beneath the lighthouse garden." Mira packed her things and began her journey home. Part 52, Return to the Lighthouse. When Mira returned, Taylor wept with joy. Though frail and tired, she had waited. Together, they dug beneath the glowing tree. There, in a small iron box wrapped in moon silk, they found it, the memory prism, a device that held thoughts, moments, and one secret Samantha never shared with anyone. They activated it. Part 53, Samantha's Last Vision. A soft image flickered in the air, Samantha's voice. "If you're watching this, you've carried the light further than I ever could. But I didn't destroy the first light. I became its keeper in secret. It sleeps within me now, deeper than memory. If the world ever needs it again, you must awaken it." Myra's voice trembled. "But how?" Samantha answered, through one final whisper, "You must walk where no one remembers." Part 54, The Forgotten Land. There was a place unmarked on any map, a region where even lightkeepers feared to go, the Fade. A dead zone of memory, where nothing could grow and no echo ever returned. It was said time itself didn't pass there. Mira journeyed there alone, guided by instinct. As she entered the Fade, her thoughts blurred. She forgot her name, her reason, even why she came. But one thing stayed, the warmth in her chest. Part 55, The Child of No Time. Inside the Fade, she found a child. Hair white, eyes endless. The child spoke not in words, but emotions, sadness, longing, joy. Mira realized this was the sleeping piece of Samantha's soul, lost in the Fade to keep the world balanced. The child reached for her, and Mira, weeping, whispered, "You are not forgotten." Part 56, Awakening the First Light. As they touched, light exploded. Not bright, but deep, warm, infinite. Samantha's voice sang across the fade, and for the first time, memory bloomed. Mira returned from the fade, not alone. The child, reborn as Samuel, the essence of first light, walked beside her. But news waited. The world had changed again. Part 57, The Fire Above the Sky. A new force had risen in the east. Not shadow, but purists. Those who believed only pure light must remain. No memory, no mercy, no balance. They began erasing towns, burning sacred trees, blinding children so they'd never know fear or wonder. Samuel trembled. They fear memory because it leads to truth. Part 58, The Circle Restored. Mira called upon all who remembered Samantha, old warriors, young students, broken people who had once found light. They formed this circle of restoration, not to fight, but to remember. With Samuel's help, they spread dreams across the land, memories that couldn't be erased. Songs, stories, laughter, tears. Families long separated found each other in dreams again. The purists began to crack. Part 59, The Night of Lighted Windows. In every home, on the same night, people lit candles in their windows, in memory of those lost and those still fighting. Even the purists saw it, and one by one, many laid down their tools and wept. Samuel watched from the lighthouse garden and whispered, "This is what she meant. Light isn't something to wield, it's something to live." Part 60, Myra's Choice. The world began to heal. But Samuel asked Mira one question. Do you want to remain in this world, or become its guardian beyond it? She stood at the lighthouse edge, feeling the wind. I was born a memory. Let me walk beside it, always. And so she did, vanishing in a mist, but never gone. Now, when children ask about the glowing tree, Taylor smiles and says, that's where two girls, Samantha and Mira, planted light and gave it away, expecting nothing in return. Part 61, The Child of the Forgotten Tree. The world was now quieter. No war, no shadow, no lightkeepers, just stories passed down, some believed, some forgotten. In the coastal city of New Halwyn, 10-year-old Leora was considered strange. She often wandered to the cliffs alone, staring out at the sea. She listens to things that aren't there, people whispered. But Leora heard them, gentle hums in the wind, soft whispers in the soil. And one day, while chasing a glowing bird into the woods behind her school, she found something remarkable. A tree, glowing softly, with a weathered stone plaque at its roots. Here stood the girl who chose light. Part 62, The Whisper Through the Bark. Leora pressed her palm against the tree, and it pulsed. In her mind, a vision unfurled. Two women, hand in hand, one older, one younger. They stood at a lighthouse, wrapped in golden wind. A voice echoed, Leora, the light never left. It waits in you now. She staggered back. No one else saw. But from that day forward, every time Leora touched something old, a book, a wall, a piece of sky, stories returned. She began to draw them. Scenes she had never seen. Names she had never learned. And always, two names repeated, Samantha and Mira. Part 63, Drawings That Remember. Leora's drawings began to take on a life of their own. One showed a lighthouse surrounded by stars, but there had never been a lighthouse near New Halwyn. Another showed a woman cloaked in fireless light, her hand stretched toward a silver tree. The last one made her teacher pause, a girl holding a shard of glowing flame, with the word Mira written beneath in a language no one recognized. That night, Leora found a small notebook under her pillow, one she hadn't seen before. Inside, in a shaky hand, you remember because the light remembers. Find a prism. Beneath the roots. Part 64, The Prism Beneath the Tree. At dawn, Leora returned to the glowing tree. The soil trembled beneath her feet. Digging with her bare hands, she uncovered a strange crystal prism, no larger than her fist, but warm and humming. When she touched it, her surroundings melted away. Suddenly, she stood in a shimmering white chamber, surrounded by voices whispering names, songs, lullabies, and one voice louder than the rest. She was brave. She was light. But light needs memory. You must carry it again. Part 65. The Council of Sleepers. Back in her town, strange things began happening. People had vivid dreams of forgotten places, of oceans they had never visited, of women standing in golden rain, of stars falling gently on their faces. Leora realized the prism was leaking memory, memory of a world that no longer existed or that had been made to forget. A man in a gray coat appeared in her classroom one day. He asked too many questions. When Leora told him about her drawings, he grew silent. The sleepers, he whispered. It's starting again. Then he vanished. Part 66. The map with no landmarks. Inside the prism, a map began to form. Inked in light, but with no names, only symbols, a tower, a burning tree, a circle with 13 stars. And at the bottom corner, a word that gave her chills. Fade. Leora remembered the tale the village storyteller once muttered in a dream, about a land where thoughts disappeared and only the brave returned. But she also remembered the warm whisper in the prism. You are the new keeper, Leora. The light does not forget. Part 67. The Last Lantern Path. At sunrise, Leora packed her sketchbook, the prism, and a small lantern she found in the attic, one that, strangely, lit without fire. She slipped away from New Halwyn, guided only by the glowing map. It pulsed each time she walked in the right direction. The first landmark she found was a ruin in the forest, a shattered stone with a worn engraving. To remember is to resist. As Leora touched it, memories not her own flashed through her mind, of Samantha facing the first light, of Mira stepping into the fade. These weren't stories. They were living echoes, and they were guiding her forward. Part 68. The Memory Eaters. As she crossed a misty bridge beyond the forest, Leora felt it, a stillness too deep. She saw two people standing in the mist. When she approached, they turned, and their eyes were hollow. They smiled kindly and asked her name. I'm Leora, she said. The moment she spoke, a wave of dizziness struck her. Her own name, it slipped from her grasp like sand. She stumbled backward, gripping the prism. It glowed violently, repelling the figures. They hissed and vanished. These were memory eaters, ancient beings that fed on identity. And they were waking up. Part 69. The Forgotten Vault. Deeper into the wilderness, Leora found a stone vault hidden beneath vines and moss. The prism unlocked it. Inside, murals of light keepers lost to time. Samantha, Mira, others. And one mural was blank, but below it, carved into the wall. For the one who remembers them all. A new symbol appeared on Leora's lantern, a swirl of flame and mist. It was the mark of the remembrancer. Her role was no longer to simply recall, but to defend memory itself. Part 70. A City Without Past. She finally reached a city from the map, Vester, but no one there remembered its founding. No statues, no elders, no records. People only knew what they were told yesterday. When Leora asked about Samantha or Mira, they said, who? The entire city was under a spell, not of darkness, but of erasure. And the one maintaining it was watching from the tallest tower. Part 71. The Tower Without a Door. The tallest tower in Vester had no known entrance. It was smooth stone from base to sky. But Leora's lantern, now marked with the remembrancer's seal, cast a thin beam of silver light onto one side. The wall shimmered and melted open. She entered into silence. Inside, the air felt hollow, like the building itself didn't want to be remembered. At the top, seated before a mirror of black glass, was a man with pale skin, silver robes, and no shadow. He didn't look surprised. So, she returns again, he said. Every 100 years. Always a child. Always curious. His name was Archean, the architect of forgetting. Part 72. The Architect's Bargain. Archean explained that he had once been a light keeper, long before Samantha or Mira. But he believed memory was the cause of suffering, war, and decay. He sought peace through forgetting. Not evil, but emptiness. Samantha refused me. Mira resisted. But you're young. You haven't seen the pain yet. He offered her a choice. Surrender the prism and forget everything. Live peacefully in Veshter with no weight, no past. For a second, the temptation struck her. But she saw her drawings, her hands, her name. No, she said. Peace without memory isn't peace. It's silence. The mirror cracked. Part 73. Echoes in the Tower. The cracked mirror unleashed a wave of suppressed memory. Faces and places erupted through the tower walls. Samantha's battle at the lighthouse. Mira walking into the fade. Villagers mourning. Children laughing. The city below paused. People began whispering to each other things they'd never remembered before. Names, stories, lost parents. Archean clutched his head, shouting, "You don't understand what you've done." But Leora held the prism high. "No, I remember." Part 74. The Awakening of Veshter. The city trembled, not from destruction, but awakening. Old gardens reappeared. Hidden books resurfaced in empty shelves. Statues shimmered into form. The city's heart began beating again. Music rising from streets. Names spoken aloud for the first time in a century. Leora was carried on shoulders through the plaza. They didn't call her a hero. They called her the remembered one. She was no longer just a girl with drawings. She was a bridge between what was and what could be again.